can now cross live to RT's Laura Emmett, who's in Brussels for us. Laura, does the report completely ruin Georgia's efforts, do you think, to portray itself as the victim here?
Well, let's take a look first at a little bit of the background from the report. Of course, it's a report that was ordered by the EU Commission in December, and it's taken all this time to finish it. And its primary goal, really, as stated by the people who wrote it, is to establish a reconciliation between Moscow and Tbilisi, and also incorporating into that South Ossetia and Abkhazia. So it's not really about apportioning blame, according to the EU. But, of course, from Russia's point of view, the main thing is an establishment that it wasn't Russia that fired the first shot. In fact, it was Georgia. And earlier I spoke to the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, Vladimir Chizhov, and here's what he had to say about that.
It is unequivocal on the main issue, who started the war. And it says that it was the Georgian massive attack on Tskhinval during the night of 7th to 8th August 2008, which was the beginning of large-scale hostilities.
Now, of course, this report doesn't completely exonerate Russia. It does say that both sides were responsible for not having prevented the conflict before it started. And it also said that Russia did exacerbate the political situation in the lead-up to the conflict by issuing passports to South Ossetians and Abkhazians, Russian passports, of course, I'm talking about. And Russia knew from its own actions that it hadn't fired the first shot. But the most important thing also to have come out of this is that now the rest of the world knows, and this is what Chizhov had to say about that.
It doesn't come as a surprise to Russia, because we have known this all along. I think this would be more important, with all due respect to the author and the Commission's work, which we appreciate. I believe it's more important to those who might not yet have a clear picture of events in that sense.
And Chizhov also said, when I met him earlier this afternoon, that this is not a victory for Russia and it shouldn't be seen as such. It's in fact a victory for common sense. Now, this report is 1,000 pages long. It looks like a fair-sized telephone directory. It's in 3 different volumes, so it hasn't been perused thoroughly by the people who are supposed to see it yet. It's pretty safe to assume. But it will be available on the internet, and I think the hope is that people from various walks of life will look at it and see what the issues are that can lead up to a conflict like this.
And so far, Laura, you've hinted at Russia's reaction to this report, but what's been the reaction from the wider international community?
Well, in fact, I also spoke today to Dmitry Rogozin, who's Russia's special envoy to NATO. And we can safely say, I think, that Chizhov, the Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, was pretty measured in his response, but Rogozin was less so. He said that now that the report has been released, Russia will be expecting an apology from the West for what he called the dirt that the West and the Western media had heaped on Russia, both during the conflict and after. And as I said, the report is 1,000 pages long, but it's pretty unlikely that he's going to find one in there. But, you know, that may be what Russia goes after now, an apology for the things that were said about it. The other interesting statement that we've got is one from Heidi Tagliavini, who's the Swiss very high-ranking diplomat who was in charge of the report. She collected information from all sorts of different sources. She had corroboration, and good international corroboration, she says, when she was preparing the report. But the EU have been pretty tight-lipped about it, so this is really the only statement that we've got from them. And it's pretty strong, actually. It says that, in the mission's view, it was Georgia that triggered the war when it attacked Tskhinval with heavy artillery on the 7th and 8th of August. And it said that she said that all the explanations that Georgia had provided to suggest legal justification for their actions, in fact, didn't constitute legal justification. So that's a pretty important thing. And that there was no massive Russian invasion underway when the first shot was fired. And really, that she hopes that the report will be instrumental to peace and stability in the region. As far as I know, there's been no reaction from the US so far, but there has been some suggestion that this establishment that Georgia did fire the first shot could prompt the US to look for and support another presidential candidate for Georgia apart from Saakashvili. So we'll have to see how that pans out.
So some strong responses so far. All right, for now, Laura, many thanks. That was our correspondent Laura Emmett reporting for us from Brussels.